The draft feature allows you to add draft angle to faces by selecting a neutral plane or a direction of pull and choosing the faces to draft. So we'll choose the draft tool here, and we'll start with the neutral plane option. And the first selection it asks for is the neutral plane. We'll start off by selecting the bottom face. And the important thing to keep in mind with the neutral plane is the neutral in its title. The neutral plane won't change in dimension. It's any faces that you choose that are outside of the neutral plane that are going to change. You'll also notice that once we selected the bottom face as the neutral plane, it brought in this arrow, which you can flip. That's the direction of the pull. And what that indicates is that if this is going down, any face we select below it is going to be tapered off, meaning the dimensions are going to get smaller as you go down here. And if we add draft to, let's say, this circular face here, it's going to increase the size as it's going in the opposite direction of the arrow. So if I were to click OK and add the draft to the part, you notice that this drafts outwards based on the direction of pull. Going back into the draft feature, I'll go ahead and delete out the face here. And we want to draft this inward, so we want to make this smaller as it goes towards the top. So we're going to flip the direction of pull. For faces to draft, we can go in and select out any of these faces. There's also options for face propagation. So if I select this face, for example, next to the fillet there, we have 3 faces there that are tangent to each other. So if we choose a long tangent, it's going to select those 3 faces. And because there are no fillets between our other sharp edges there, it doesn't follow along any of the other faces. I'll go ahead and delete out this face now, and we'll look at the other options. Of course, we can select this manually and just choose none and just select out any of the faces we would like. You can also choose all of the faces, and this selects both the outside faces and the inner faces. And you'll notice that there's one missing face here because it doesn't quite know how to treat this because it's in between a transition there. If we wanted to add that face in, we could just go ahead and click on that face as well to add in any extra faces. You'll also notice when it selects faces, the top 3 faces there are not selected. It won't select any faces that are parallel to the neutral plane, as those are faces that you can't add draft to. So the last 2 options are inner faces. You see it selects the inner faces of that cutout. And we can choose outer faces. Now we'll go ahead and just once again select that inside face there, and we'll add 3 degrees of draft. And we can see the effect of that. If we wanted to add more draft to a specific face, we could do that as well. If I select the neutral plane again and flip that, we want to add more draft to the cylinder here. We could add another 2 degrees of draft, for example. And that is how the neutral plane option of the draft feature works.